Episode 17, back to the Mets. An exciting one today. Hopefully, a good one as the Mets come off their first sweep somehow of the season of the Detroit Tigers. And now we get set for the Subway Series. Nico, when we were talking on Monday, you were a little bit more optimistic. I was really not looking forward to this weekend whatsoever, did not have high hopes that they would get into shape and they would play well against the Tigers to set up for an interesting weekend. But thankfully, now I'm excited. A sweep of the Tigers, and we get set for, unfortunately, an Apple TV game tonight, but a big Mets Yankees game.
You know what? Let's clap it up. Round of applause because they finally did what we've been asking them to do, which is take care of business against teams that they're better than, realistically. I mean, I know the record doesn't say that they are, and the Tigers are another team in a similar situation, a team that had high expectations coming in and has very much underperformed. I know the Skubal injury is what's killed them. They're 1-8 in their last 9 since Skubal was announced that he was going to miss all that time. But this is what we wanted. You know, when we talked about the road trip, when they played the Rockies and the Angels and the Diamondbacks, it was like, yeah, they went 5-4. They won 2 out of the 3 series. You're feeling okay, but this is what we wanted. A sweep, domination from start to finish, and that's what we got this week. Positive vibes going into the Yankee series.
Positive vibes is right. Obviously, AJ Ewing, the big story, called him up Monday night. He makes his debut Tuesday, was excellent his debut, and he was really excellent throughout the entire series at his first career home run on Thursday afternoon, excuse me. Everything that you saw from this kid, his patience at the plate, the swagger, the confidence, he has the speed and the athleticism. He could play everywhere in the outfield. Everything you saw from AJ Ewing was very encouraging. And I think what makes it even better is that Carson Bench is starting to play well, and he's starting to really, find his stride here at the major league level. He was the big prospect. He was the one that everybody in the Mets organization was very excited for. But it feels so much better that both of these guys at the same time are producing.
Yeah, and that's really all we can ask for at this point, right? Like, I think we've all come to the conclusion, and again, hopefully I'm wrong, but I think we can come to the conclusion that this is not a World Series contending team. So if the goal this year isn't going to be to win it all, yeah, we would still like to think that, hey, they can go on a run and make the postseason, but I want to see what's coming in the future. And AJ Ewing is a huge bright spot in that category. And like you said, Carson Bench too, finally figuring it out. It's interesting because AJ Ewing was not drafted by David Stearns. This guy was a 4th-round pick in 2023. That's Billy Epler's guy. But to see the young kids finally come up and make an impact at the major league level, even if things don't necessarily go the way we originally thought this year, at least I could sit there and say, hey, the future doesn't look so dark anymore.
Yes, 100%. This is what, and by the way, I don't want to say what I'm about to say. There's technically, I don't think I should say it. Well, you don't know if they're a World Series contending team right now. I mean, I know it was all doom and gloom on Monday, but like technically, we thought this in 2024, right? And then they ended up going to the National League Championship Series. So, I think I understand what you're saying. You want to see the young kids play. You want to see them produce. You want to know that there is some sort of future here, that you're building towards something. I get that, and I'm all for it. But on May 15th, I want to believe that not only is this great for the future, but it's great for the rest of this season, that he adds length to this lineup. And now you're like, all right, let's go. Like, let's get this. Let's go win some ball games, and let's try and build out of this slump that we were in for the first month and a half of this year.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't want them to win the World Series this year. Of course, that's the ultimate goal every year. But for me, coming into the year, I mean, I say it in the intro, it's sustained success. That's what I'm looking for with this franchise. It's something that they have not had in, 64 years now as a franchise? I mean, everyone knows the stat. It's said all the time. They've never made the playoffs 3 years in a row before. So I just want to see that there is youth guys that are going to be here long term. Now you can look at the outfield and say Juan Soto, Carson Bench, and AJ Ewing for the next 10 plus years. Yeah, they're set up nicely in the outfield. You have McLean on the mound. He's not going anywhere. Francisco Lindor, I'd like to think he's still going to be a part of this future. We don't know what's going to happen with him now getting injured. The dynamic in the clubhouse seems to be off a little bit. He's in his 30s, but I'd like to think that if Lindor is a part of the future, that's your core going forward. And if I'm being honest, I know it's early with Ewing and Benj as well. That's not so bad of a core.
No, it's a very nice core. And there's other guys coming up. There's guys position player wise. There's pitchers coming up at points now where you're starting to get excited about them. I'm just going through this. Like Freddie didn't. You thought Freddie didn't have it Tuesday night. The pitch count's high. And he's able to get through, and he's able to go. What did he go 7? Did he go 6 or 7 on Friday? Let me see.
I believe he went 6.
He went 6, which feels like 7 for him because he doesn't really do that much. Yeah, he went 6, had 7 strikeouts in a blowout. Ends up being a blowout victory against the Tigers. Then you move to the next night where Christian Scott gives up the runs early, then kind of finds it, but he doesn't go deep into this game. But like he's starting to show even a little bit. Like, do you think he could be a back end kind of starter here for them?
I mean, he's better than Kodai Senga, right? Like, if you give me 4 2/3, 2 runs, I'll take that every 5 days, no questions asked. Especially if they're getting the production that they're getting from David Peterson with the opener. Right, because when Peterson starts, it's been a disaster, but he's actually pitched well when they have Brazaban and Tobias Myers and even Austin Warren pitch before he enters the game, which is probably what they're going to do on Saturday in the second game of the Subway Series, which we'll get to later on. But I actually don't mind what I've seen from the back end of the rotation. If you're getting the stuff that they're getting from Peralta, which was, like you said, such a gutsy performance on Tuesday after he gives up those runs early, the Mets get one back in the bottom of the second, and then he comes out for the third and gives up a leadoff double, and you're sitting there like, oh, this is going to be a horrible start for him, and they're not going to be able to score enough runs to stay with the Tigers, and it's just another one of those nights, and he absolutely locked it down the rest of the way. Same thing for Nolan on Thursday, by the way. What an awesome job to give up the 3-run homer in the first and then get through 7 innings and not allow another run. Just gutsy stuff from this Mets pitching staff, and you got to credit the offense, too, for finding ways to come back, because we talked about it when we were watching the Diamondback series. That game on Sunday, they go down 2-0, and you're sitting there like, oh, well, game's over. They're not going to score any runs. But this week, they actually did.
They did 100%. That game on Thursday was so impressive because I'm sitting there 3-0. Ewing hits the home run, and I said to myself, because I wanted Thursday. I really wanted Thursday because I wanted to go into this weekend with not only a little confidence, just feeling good, like making this somewhat entertaining going into a series that is already going to have some higher stakes because it's the Yankees, but just also for yourself that you're starting to play better. And I thought that the way they were able to come back was so impressive, but then you mentioned it with McLean. He gives up the 3 runs early. He gave up 6 hits. He walked 3 guys. That is very unusual for him. And that was the definition of a gutsy performance from an ace. You have ace-like performances, right, where you go 6 or 7 innings and you're unhittable. But a true ace is able to really not have his stuff. Gary mentioned it, doesn't have his put-away pitch most of the day, and he's still able to strike out 7, limit the damage in every inning, and go 7 strong. It was so impressive from him, and that's like more evidence for me, at least, that he is the ace of this staff and is going to be the ace of this staff for a very long time.
Yeah, the example that I always think of when it comes to starts like that was Jacob deGrom, 2015 Game 5 of the NLDS. We've talked about it in previous episodes on this show. That is one of my favorite starts by any pitcher I've ever seen. And for McLean to do something like that, obviously the stakes not as high. That wasn't Game 5 of the National League Division Series. But in the game that the Mets really wanted, like you mentioned, a chance to sweep a series for the first time this year after giving up the 3 runs, didn't have his stuff early, to be able to fight his way through 7 innings was really, really, really impressive.
Nolan, our guy Soto. How about Soto starting to figure it out a little bit? Hit the homer, hit the go-ahead single to drive in Benj on a crazy stolen base. He's starting to figure it out. Bichette, Bichette's a problem. Everything about Bichette is a problem. I mean, I know we want to be positive here today, but he is a massive, massive problem at the top of this lineup right now.
I don't understand what it is. Like, if you wanted to tell me that he's trying to get acclimated to New York, that's one thing, fine. But, like, it still shouldn't be this bad. Like, even Jason Bay wasn't this bad, right? Like, the OPS is, like, barely even at 600. Is it even at 600?
No, it's way below. It's 550.
I mean, it's like, this is, like, pathetically bad. Like, I don't even know if pathetically is a word, but I don't even know what else to say. It's crazy that he is this bad. This is a guy that hit 311 last year. We talked about it last episode. He was hitting big home runs in the World Series 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
He can't buy a hit. Granted, he did have the game-tying RBI single on Wednesday night, but even that was a bloop single that wasn't a hard hit ball. He didn't rip one into the gap the way he did in that win over the Twins where he had the bases clearing double. Like, that's the stuff we want to see. I mean, the slugging percentage is below 300. This is getting out of hand now. This is crazy.
Let me see it.
I think the on-base percentage is even only at like 270.
His on-base is 270. His slugging is 282.
I mean, just yikes.
It's bad. It's really bad. Alvarez, I didn't even put this on the sheet. Alvarez going to be out 2 months here. He's got the meniscus. He tore his meniscus.
You know, I'm at the point, and I hate saying this because I was really, really excited for Alvarez and still kind of am. I mean, after what we saw in 2023, you've seen the potential. Last year, after he gets sent down, he got hurt and came back and was hitting the ball well. I just don't think he can be reliable anymore as the franchise's future catcher. Like, if you're going to get hurt this often, the catcher position is a very brutal position to play. So I'm not, saying that it's ridiculous that he's getting hurt. It's just this many times. Like, come on now. You got to be able to stay on the field and be reliable for this team. How can I trust that he's going to be able to stay healthy going forward even after this year?
It's a great point because not only are you worried about his consistency, are you're worried about whether or not he could actually hit at the major league level and at times defend at the major league level. But now you're concerned about the injuries because it feels like every season there's been something now. There was something in 24. He obviously missed time last year, a couple of freak things last year, but still he missed time. And now this year with the knee, he's going to miss 2 months. He's not going to be back probably until after the All-Star break at this point. So certainly concerned. I was excited as well because it did look like he took those next steps, the necessary steps in 2025 at the end when he came back up, and it showed that he was going to be a legitimate major league catcher. I don't get the sense now, and now you have Torrens and Hayden Senger, holding it down. Your boy Vientos is having a nice month of May. I actually want to pull May stats right now. I think he's got like an 800 OPS in May. Let's pull this up.
I was looking at his stats. Someone tweeted it. His stats compared to Pete Alonso, not that different. I know Pete's gotten off to a rough start. He's hitting like 218 so far this year for Baltimore, but the OPSs are very similar. So
he's got 4 homers and 11 RBIs. He's hitting 250, and he's got an 851 OPS in the month of May. That is Mr. Vientos there. So
I mean, listen, they're 8-4 in the month of May so far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know we're sitting here and we're being positive. We love that they, swept the Tigers, but there's still that part of you that's like, they're only 18-25. They're 7 games out of the 3rd wild card spot. This team is nowhere near from being back. But hey, if they can continue to do this, if they go 16-8 in the month of May, why can't we sit there and say they got 4 months left? And if they continue to play good baseball, like, maybe the first month and a half, or maybe the first month was a fluke.
Well, you need to start somewhere,
right? Like
this could be the start. 8-4 is the start. I mean, it has to start if you're going to break out of this. Or if you're going to be a team that gets out of it, it has to start somewhere. And all of the numbers and the evidence is against you, right? You talk about teams that had a 12-game losing streak at any point in the year. They've never made the playoffs. There's all these numbers that tell you that this is not possible. I'm not asking. I'm just asking for an entertaining summer.
I'm
That's all I'm asking for is to be locked into something until September. That is literally it.
I'm holding back a laugh because for the last week and a half, I've been sitting here saying that, oh, I'm so not excited for the Subway Series. Like, of course, we're going to have to play the Yankees, and it's just a lose-lose situation because either we win and can't even celebrate, or we lose, and it just sucks because it always sucks losing to the Yankees. And of course, they go out and sweep the Tigers. Meanwhile, the Yankees have lost 5 out of 6. They got swept in Milwaukee and then lost 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. Caballero's hurt. Max Fried just got hurt and is supposedly going to miss a couple of starts. Obviously, they've been without Stanton for a couple of weeks, so they're getting banged up too. They're not even in first place in the AL East, which is crazy because they by far have the best roster in the league. And somehow the Rays are just playing unreal so far this year. So they're sitting in a wild card spot. Maybe if you win 2 out of 3, you might be able to throw a little jabs in there to the Yankee fans, which is crazy to think about because it seems like for the last month and a half, it's been disastrous for the Mets. And here we are feeling positive after one sweep.
They're really not playing well, though. That's the one thing. Like, the Yankees are really not playing well coming into this series. This is probably the worst they've played. This is the worst they've played all season long. So you're actually getting the Yankees at the perfect time if you're the Mets. And then if you're the Mets, you're starting to really feel it. You're starting to come out of this a little bit. And you bring up a top prospect. Your pitching's been really good of late. Like, as a Mets fan, you feel better heading into this specific weekend, I think, than the Yankees do.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, AJ Ewing has shot life into the arm of this team and the fan base. That's the biggest thing too. I mean, young talent is what gets fan bases going. Like when we were watching these guys like Semien and Polanco and Luis Robert, all we kept saying is like, oh, these guys are old, they're injury prone, like especially Semien. I mean, like this guy's on the back end of his career. Like, where's the interest level? But now you see AJ Ewing, and even if they aren't a World Series contender, you're at least tuning in to watch him play. And the same thing with Benj now, who has been raking over the last 2 weeks or so, especially the last week. He had, 2 hits on Tuesday, 3 more hits on Wednesday, including the walk-off. This is what makes baseball interesting for a young fan base like this that, hasn't seen a lot of winning over the years, right? There hasn't been much to celebrate. So when we get young talent like this that has a chance to be really great, we're going to get excited.
We're excited. We're pumped. We're back as a fan base. We're back as a fan base, excuse me. Fan case. We're definitely head cases. What else we got here?
This is psychotic. This is actually psychotic.
No, this is bad. Let's see here.
Because then what? I'm not even going to say it.
Say it.
Because then what's going to happen is that they're going to start losing again, and then we're going to be like, oh, I can't believe we bought back into this team. That's what happens every time, right?
If they get swept here?
Yeah, I mean, even if my biggest concern is, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, my biggest concern is that they actually do take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, and then they'd be 20-26. They'd be 10-5 in the month of May, and then they go to Washington and Miami and lose 4 out of 7.
That seems
to be what happens every time. Remember last year in August, they swept the Phillies, and everyone was like, oh yeah, this team's back. Here we go. And then they lost 3 out of 4 Labor Day weekend at home to the Marlins.
Yes, I remember that vividly. And the one thing I'll say is if you are coming out of this, if this is something different, you win 2 out of 3 this weekend, and then you take care of business against those teams, because that's what has to happen. What is that? Is that 7 games or 6 games on the road there against the Nats and the Marlins?
I believe it's 7. I'm going to double check right now. I think it's 4 against Washington. Yeah, 4-game series that starts Monday against Washington, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Miami.
You have to go 5-2 over those 7 games after. If you in this scenario, you're taking 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. You have to go 5-2, because now what does that bring you to? You go 2 out of 3 this weekend, you're 20-6. You go 5-2. You're 25-28. If you're 25-28 after that Marlins series, you're feeling pretty damn good about yourself, and you're hoping at least, I know Lindor's not anywhere close to being back, but at least you're hoping after that, all right, maybe Polanco's coming back and he's going to DH and play first a little bit. And maybe Robert's on his way back. Although, does Robert even have a spot anymore? I mean, let's actually have that conversation. Robert doesn't even have a spot on this roster right now anymore.
Absolutely not. I mean, I guess you could keep him on the roster. Like, he could be that fourth outfielder. What is Tyrone Taylor offering, though?
Tyrone Taylor does offer better defense than Robert. I understand there's more upside.
Is he better defensively? That's one of the reasons that Robert was brought here, right? Great defensive center fielder.
He is, but I think Taylor is better defensively than Robert. I feel more comfortable with Taylor out there in any spot than Robert.
I guess. Isn't Tyrone Taylor's OPS like 480?
I can tell you right now. I'm actually on the Tampa Bay Rays page right now because I'm fascinated by the Tampa Bay Rays.
Tyrone Taylor's OPS this season is 489.
I just feel like you can't cut Tyrone. I love Tyrone.
Ugh. I don't know. I guess at that point, it really doesn't make a difference. You're just going to be the backup center fielder. So whatever. But why are we keeping Tyrone Taylor around? Especially when Robert's making $20 million.
Well, no, obviously in this scenario, yes, Taylor is going to be cut.
I absolutely agree that Luis Robert Jr. is no longer a starter on this team. The outfield going forward, and stop with the whole all three of them are lefties, so they have to platoon. I loved that they all played on Wednesday, even though it was Framber Valdez on the mound. And Benj had a couple of hits against him.
Oh, wait, that's a thing? That's a thing on Twitter?
Well, no, I've just noticed that Mendoza loves to play Austin Slater and Tyrone Taylor when there's a lefty on the mound.
But he didn't do that. He didn't do that here at all this weekend, which was good.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Stick with that. I don't want Robert to come back and then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Robert some reps against lefties. That's what's gonna happen. I do not want that.
When they bring Robert back, that's exactly what's gonna happen. He's gonna play against lefties.
But Benj had 2 hits against Valdez. So how are you going to sit there and say, I'm not saying you specifically, but how are you going to sit there and say if you're Carlos Mendoza or David Stearns that you have to bench Carson Benj against the lefties because he can't do it? He just proved to you that he can.
Ewing had a couple of good at-bats too. Drew a walk against the lefty on Wednesday night. He had a couple of nice at-bats against them. So listen, I'm with you. I want them to play. I want that to be the outfield for the rest of the year. But these are now, when you do get Robert back, these are good problems to have, at least, because at least you have bodies that you somewhat trust at the plate and in the field. I mean, we were talking about Austin Slater and Andy Ibanez, right? And obviously you had the MJ Melendez insanity run. I think that's over, no?
Yeah, the only positive that you could, way to do it would be if you want to get Soto off his feet more often.
DH him.
You let Soto DH, and then you have, Ewing play left if you want, Robert in center, Benj in right.
Right.
I don't hate that.
And that'll probably happen.
If you're doing it to get Soto off of his feet, but you're still keeping all 3 lefties in the lineup, that's okay. My biggest issue is when they take one of the young kids out of the lineup because it's a lefty pitcher. The only way he's going to learn how to hit lefties is by doing it. He cannot learn how to do that in a batting cage. He needs to do it for real.
The only issue you run into is when Polanco's back and now somebody's sitting, Vientos or Polanco. When that scenario comes up, when you're saying we're going to DH Soto, one of those guys is not playing.
Why can't Vientos play third?
I know he homered yesterday, but want to see Vientos at third base.
I know he homered yesterday, but Brett Beatty's been atrocious too.
I do not yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you that Brett Beatty is terrible at the plate right now. But the last thing I want to see is Vientos losing us games at third base, because that's what's going to happen. He's that bad over there.
But let's not act like he's been doing great at first. Did you see the one play where he stumbled over the bag and dropped the ball? I mean, how unathletic are you?
He's had more, I don't want to say good plays, but I guess we'll just say positive plays than totally negative plays at first, where you can live with it. Like, he's been better than I thought, actually, at first.
I guess. I think if you're going to have him play the field anyway,
No, I can't have him at third. You can't have him at third.
then why not have the best lineup possible?
Do you remember how bad he was at third base?
I understand, but
He's
I'm just saying that
terrible.
Beatty's defense at third to me does not outweigh keeping someone like Polanco out of the lineup. If Polanco wants to come back and hit, which is something that he wasn't doing. I know he was, on and off day to day a lot before they actually really put him on the IL. He was dealing with the leg injury. So maybe that's why he was struggling at the plate. But if both Polanco and Vientos are hitting the ball well, I think you have to find a way to keep them both in there. Especially Vientos. I've been his biggest defender all season long. They need that power in the lineup. I know they hit 5 home runs on Thursday, and it was Semien going deep. Ewing obviously hit a home run, but he even said himself in the postgame, that's not his identity. He'll run into a home run every now and then, but he's trying to spray the ball all over the yard. He's not looking to hit the ball over the fence. You need somebody that can have that type of power in the lineup, and Vientos, to me, is really the only guy that could do it consistently.
Good problems, eventually. We're not there yet. We're not there. We're not even close to there yet, apparently, according to Carlos Mendoza. Especially with Lindor, who, he said he's making progress, but there's really, no timetable whatsoever at this point.
I hate when they do that. And I know, I guess I don't know if they're lying to us where they know and they just don't want to tell us. I doubt that that's the case, but I hate not knowing. I don't want to say I'd rather, but at least if I knew that he was going to be out till September, I can mentally plan for that and be okay, I know what we have to do now until then. The fact that he could come back at the end of June or it could be late August really bothers me. I don't like not knowing what it's going to look like.
I think this actually is a better sign because I think it's probably closer. I think it's probably sooner rather than later with it.
But then why wouldn't they say that?
Because they don't want to get people excited because he's probably moving along better than they thought. So I think we're just going to get shocked in a few weeks when, he's going on a rehab assignment.
Okay, I hope so.
That's my guess right now.
But then adding to the conversation we were just talking about, when he comes back, you're putting Bichette back at third, and then what? Now the conversation of Vientos going over to third becomes irrelevant. So Beatty's coming out of the lineup anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't want Vientos at third. I don't.
But we were talking about how Polanco is going to come back and it's going to create issues with Soto DHing, right? Let's say everybody's healthy. It's July. You got Robert in center with the baby Mets in the corner outfields and Soto's DHing. What are you doing with Jorge Polanco and Mark Vientos then?
I think it depends on where Vientos is at that point. Because even though he's playing well right now and should play every day right now, no doubt, he can go back into a slump in a couple of weeks. And now you're sitting here saying, well, technically, if you play 6 games a week, if he played 3 or 4, it doesn't hurt you. That's what he deserves.
I knew we were going to do this. I knew we were going to go down this path of talking about everybody getting healthy and them being in contention, and it's exciting, all after one series. We were just talking on Monday about how it's over.
I was completely checked out.
You were talking about how you're saying that you've lost interest completely in this team, and I don't blame you because most people have.
Can I tell you? I went right home on Tuesday and Wednesday night after work and watched those games. I mean, the one game was a blowout. So I mean, I watched the end as background noise, watched the walk off, and then yesterday I was in between. I was working, and I got to work a little earlier, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe the 4th or 5th inning, right after Beatty tied it. I was going to go straight to the gym, home, shower, be in for the day until I had to go play softball. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home and watch the rest of this game. And I basically worked my day around watching them, from the 4th or 5th inning on. And it was great. And I enjoyed it.
I got to be honest, on Tuesday when they won the first game, like you said, in blowout fashion. My first thought was actually negative because my first thought was I texted one of my buddies and I said, this reminds me so much of the first game in the National Series. Do you remember they got swept against the Rockies at home, and then they're playing the Nationals at Citi Field that Tuesday night game? They blew out Washington and then
Yes.
lost the next two.
Yes.
So I remember thinking Tuesday night after they were beating the Tigers bad, I was like, oh, I really hope this isn't another situation where they come out super motivated after ending the previous series on the wrong foot, and then it doesn't carry over to the rest of the week or the rest of the series. Very glad that they continue that. Even Wednesday, while watching that game, when they go down 2-0, the whole mindset is completely different because you just saw them come back down 2-0 the previous night. And then the same thing on Thursday. It's a better feeling watching the game, knowing that you're sitting there and it's the third inning and the game's not over.
Well, that's the bare minimum here.
But that's what they've caused. They've made us all just ask for the bare minimum. I'm just asking for them to be playing meaningful baseball over the summer, like you said. That shouldn't be the expectation for a team with a payroll over $300 million, but here we are.
A couple of things here on my scroll from Twitter. This is 3 straight tweets, by the way. Yankees play-by-play announcer Michael Kay on President of Baseball Operations David Stearns. Every move he's made has not worked. This guy is operating under his own guidelines when the rest of the sport is operating completely differently. The Mets are 25-23 in the last decade in Subway Series games. We have the advantage over the New York Yankees over the last 10 years. And finally, Edwin Diaz is linked to an illegal cockfighting ring.
I saw that.
Diaz.
Have fun with that, Dodgers.
The cockfighting arena is like my home. That is from Edwin Diaz there. So Diaz is hurt.
I'm assuming he doesn't know that it's illegal in the United States because he wouldn't be publicly saying that.
Yes. My rooster went down dead. Is this real? My rooster went down dead and got up to fight, doing what my roosters know how to do, finish fights. He did what I do when I come in to pitch the ninth, close out the game.
There's no way that quote is real.
Via USA Today. It's from Underdog MLB. I'm pretty sure it is.
That's an insane quote. There's no way he said that.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's another one. Actually, like, why are we getting crushed today? Brandon Nimmo has a higher OPS than every qualified Met. It's 784. He accepted the trade to Texas after a brief conversation with David Stearns. Brandon says you want to go where you are wanted.
Enough. I can't deal with this anymore.
I got to tell you something. Nimmo eats this up. He loves it. I noticed this. I noticed it when he was a Met. I know he loved the drama and loved the attention. I really started to notice that towards the end of his Met tenure. And then when he was traded, he went on like a freaking media tour after he got traded. Every show he could possibly do, he jumped on. I noticed that. And it's funny because he doesn't badmouth the Mets. And at that point, when you're doing this many interviews about it, talking this much about them and how excited, I'd rather you just badmouth the Mets at this point. Badmouth Stearns. I'd rather you do it at that point.
I disagree. Badmouth Stearns, yeah, that's fine because I don't like David Stearns either, but I do not want him bashing the organization or the fan base. Like, use a different sport, for example, like Dexter Lawrence just got traded to the Bengals, and he's talking about how he's got all this extra motivation, that he's never had before, and he's so excited to play in front of such a great fan base. So you're just saying that the Giants fan base sucked the last 7 years when you were in New York? Like, at least Nimmo's not coming out and saying that stuff, and I still hold a level of respect for Brandon Nimmo. All of that has gone out the window for Dexter Lawrence now. I'm glad that I could still watch Nimmo on the Rangers and root for him, and if the Mets are eliminated, I'll be rooting for the Texas Rangers because they got both DeGrom and Nimmo who have never said a bad thing about the Mets. Love that.
I'd like to know why. I'd like to know why, Brendan, why it's a bigger problem that the Ortiz brothers are in it, but not Diaz, who is an athlete is in his own right. So if you want to comment that part, I'd really appreciate it. That's my friend Brendan. And I do know who the Ortiz brothers are, by the way, the jockeys. Horse racing.
I have no idea who we're talking about. You said Ortiz. I thought you were talking about David Ortiz.
No. The jockeys, the horse racing jockeys. Really short.
Oh, you're gonna watch the Preakness tomorrow?
Yes. I will. I got nothing going on tomorrow. I will watch the Preakness. Probably have money on it too.
I'm not big into the horse. Like I'll if it's on, it's on. Yeah, sure. I'll have some fun with it. Throw a little money on it. But I have no idea who like any of the jockeys are. Like zero research.
Well, the problem is like I used to go to Belmont a lot as a kid. So like I'm reading the book and my grandpa, my uncles are teaching me how to bet and how to read the lines and this and that. So I know how to do that now. I've known how to do it for years. But you see the names and you're like, oh, Ortiz. And like some names just stick out because they're literally in basically every race. And some of these guys are big, like the Ortiz brothers. They're at Belmont, on random Sundays, and they're also in the Derby and in the Preakness. So it's cool. It's cool.
I'd go just for the vibes. It's right
vibe.
next to UBS now. Why not?
They got to finish it. They got to finish. They're not done
Right,
with
of course. My big thing that I want to do is I want to go to the U.S. Open tennis.
Okay.
And it's funny because it's been next to Citi Field for years, and I've always complained about it because it always adds so much more traffic around Citi Field that time of year. And I never understood why they couldn't just put the Mets on the road for 2 weeks. Give them a nice little, 9-game road trip. Go ahead, get out of here. They always, for some reason, have to make them home while the U.S. Open is happening.
It's a shit show over there, to pardon my language. I mean, it is. And now you don't have as much parking over there. It's going to be even worse. You got stadiums and casinos being built, so it's going to be so much worse over there when the U.S. Open's going on.
Well, I think the plan is that they want more people taking mass transit. Especially now that you got the new soccer stadium there. The plan is to build the hotel. They're going to build the hotel right in that parking lot. There's going to be nowhere to park. They're going to force you to take the train.
You see, they're going on strike, though.
Well, I did see that. Apparently, they're going to have shuttles now going to Citi Field this weekend.
Even more shuttles. They offer these shuttles now from a bunch of different locations. I know from us, it's the Roosevelt Field Mall is the meeting spot.
That's so ridiculous, though. Why would I drive to Roosevelt Field? At that point, I would just drive. I'm already halfway there. Why not just drive to the game? I mean, I'm coming from Babylon, so I'm already going west, if that makes sense.
Well, for me, I guess. I don't know. But you just don't want to deal with it.
I guess, yeah. It's probably not $50 to take the shuttle either.
I think it's cheap.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
It's worth it. $50 to park. What's your favorite Subway Series memory before we get out of here?
I have a couple, actually. My honorable mention, this one's like kind of at the bottom compared to the other two that I'm going to mention. I was at Jacob deGrom's first game, his Mets debut, or MLB debut, I should say, against the Yankees. They lost, but Jake dazzled, and that was just the start of a brilliant Mets career. Ended up winning Rookie of the Year in 2014. It's funny, too, going to that game, nobody really knew who Jacob deGrom was. He wasn't like this crazy prospect. He was, an 11th round pick that kind of just made his way through the minor leagues. Yep. So it's always awesome knowing that I was, at his first game as a Met. The other one, though, July 4th, 2021. It's one of my favorite games, not even just Mets-Yankees, just one of my favorite regular season Met games ever. It's a 7-inning game because they're playing a doubleheader. And, of course, back in 2021, that was when they were doing those 7-inning doubleheaders, which was so ridiculous, by the way. But
crazy.
COVID, whatever. It wasn't a single admission. It was a split admission doubleheader. So we were just at the day game, and they're down going into the bottom or the top of the 7th. And Pete Alonso leads off the inning with a solo shot off Chapman to tie the game. They end up scoring 5 more runs in the inning to take the lead. I think Jose Peraza hit a go-ahead double. That was when the fan reached over and caught it. And we thought it was a home run at first, but it wasn't because he leaned over, so they gave him a double. It was like a big 6-run inning, and awesome day. I was with a bunch of Met fans and Yankee fans. There was like 10 of us that all went. July 4th, drinking, having a good time. Oh, what a day. What a day at Yankee Stadium. I'll never forget that.
I'm trying to think of like the best one, and obviously I think we're both probably gonna have like our worst memory, which was Luis Castillo dropping the ball. I cried for that one for a while. My favorite memory, you know why I'm gonna say 22, and I know they split the season series in 22 and it was only 4 games, but they played the first series. Remember, the Yankees got off to that historic start in 22, and the Mets were really good too, but it was like the first season where the Mets and the Yankees were both like really good at the same time. And I remember kind of like feeling like a changing of the, not a changing of the guard, but like, you know what? Like the Mets are going to be in this, like the Mets are here too. Like it's not just the Yankees town. The Yankees aren't going to run away with the town. Like the Mets are going to be a conversation in 2022 as well. So I remember that the Marte single, the walk-off single in the second game as a big memory for me. This is just like a personal memory. I went to the game, my buddy JM, okay? It's 2 years ago. And they're facing Cole. I'm pretty sure they faced Cole. It might have not been Cole. I forget who it was.
So this is 2024.
24.
Okay.
We go to the game last second. We're sitting in the 500s, like $130. Mets are hot. Mets
oh my God, I was at this game too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I say to him, like the Mets are about to come up. I go, I'm going to throw out 2 crazy names. If both of these guys hit home runs, you have to buy me a Mets hat tonight. And if they don't, like, whatever. I was going to get him something small. He goes, deal. Easy. Vientos and Bader.
Yep, I was going to say Harrison Bader homered. I know it for a fact. I remember that.
We agreed on. I said, okay, great. They homered in the same inning, Nico. They homered in the same inning, and it was like the second inning of the game. And he bought me where is it? It's probably up here. It says amazing. Amazing. It's a nice hat.
Nice. So, that's awesome. 2022 is a great shout too, by the way, because I remember the anticipation for those especially the ones at Citi Field, because it was the first time that they were meeting that year. Those were, I know the Mets won both, obviously, so that's why it's a great memory for us. Awesome 2 games at Citi Field.
That was great. But I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this weekend. You got nice pitching matchups as well. Clay Holmes, Cam Schlittler tonight, Friday night. You've got the Mets bullpen game against, is it Rodon? I don't even know who's Saturday.
Yes, it is. It's Rodon. Yep.
Rodon. And then you have Weathers and Peralta on Sunday at 1:40. So you got the Apple TV. I think you got a national broadcast as well Saturday, right? It's going to be on Fox on Saturday.
Yep. So and just one game on the local broadcasts.
The local little man gets screwed once again. The back on Yes and SMY on Sunday, though. Yes, and that'll be Weathers, who's been really good. Weathers has been great for the Yankees this year against Peralta, Rodon, and then obviously Schlittler, Holmes. Pumped. I'm pumped. Listen.
Let's do it.
Listen. If you're the Mets, you're finally starting to play well. You finally have some confidence. You finally have some swagger. You bring up your top prospect. He's playing well. The Mets are feeling good, and the Yankees are playing the worst they have all season long. This is another nice opportunity for the Mets here. They've missed a lot of these opportunities, but it's a nice opportunity for them to continue this and go on this run now and start to get out of the hole they've dug themselves into.
I know we kept, trying to say that it was going to be different when they signed Juan Soto, right? Like the Mets are now big brother. We've seen that that's not the case, clearly, over the last year plus since Juan Soto joined the Mets. All our lives, this franchise has belittled us. One time, can we not let them ruin our parade? We're finally feeling positive about this team for the first time all year, since the first weekend of the season when they were 2-0 after winning the first 2 games against the Pirates. This is the best we have felt since then. Don't let them take that away from us. Go out there on your home field, take care of business, and beat them, just like we've done many times this year. You said it before, 25-23 in the last decade against the Yankees. Keep those positive vibes going. Bunch of frauds over there. 1-8 against teams with winning records. Frauds. Prove it this weekend.
They line up well against us then. 18-25, not a winning record. We will talk to you guys at some point. I think it's going to be Monday. I got a crazy Sunday, graduations, this and that. So probably Monday, but we'll figure it out. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Subway Series. We'll be back to recap it all either Sunday night or Monday. Again, check us out on social media, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. We're on Twitter, Back to the Mets Pod, and obviously all your podcasts from BTO Media available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and always on YouTube where you're watching this live, or you could watch it after. The DVR is there. So we will talk to you guys next week.